Breaking news coming out overnight of massive earthquakes and tsunamis hitting, and I can see Joe Evans in the comments saying it perfectly. Earthquakes have been happening like crazy near Japan's coast starting yesterday. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest articles so that way you can see it for yourself here. You can see coming out November the 9th, Japan issues tsunami warning. After a 6.8 magnitude quake strikes the coast, we've been hearing 6.8, 6.9, and take a look at this. Tsunami warnings being issued, but U.S. tsunami warning system is reeling from funding and staffing cuts, is dealt another blow. We've got that government shutdown that is causing issues with funding for our tsunami alert systems. Now take a look at this. Japan's weather agency issues tsunami alert for Iwate Prefecture after 6.7 magnitude earthquake strikes. Japan issues a tsunami warning after a 6.7 magnitude earthquake. Travel alert. A 6.3 earthquake hits Japan's Iwate coast. Tsunami warning forces urgent evacuations for tourists. Japan issues a tsunami alert for Iwate after magnitude 6.7. Tsunami advisory issued as strong earthquake strikes off of Japan's coast. A powerful earthquake rattles the northern coast of Japan. Early tsunami advisory lifted. We're hearing that the tsunami advisory for Japan has been lifted, and another 6.7 earthquake strikes northeastern Japan. You might be wondering, why are the magnitudes across the board? Well, that is because this is not one earthquake, but overnight we are seeing a 6.8 or a 6.9. Looks like it's been downgraded to a 6.8, a 6.4, and a 5.93 megaquakes hitting Japan, all in the last 24 hours. So Japan has just been rattling lately, and I'm going to get you caught up on the latest, and also let me know your thoughts. It seems like there have been a lot of mega earthquakes that have been hitting ever since we saw the Kamchatka Peninsula shaken with that 8.8 over on the coast by Russia. And since then, we have been seeing some major earthquakes unfolding. Do you think that we're going to be seeing more of these? If you think so, put yes. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts. But we are seeing the Pacific trembling right now around that Pacific Ring of Fire. And Japan today, November the 9th, 2025, has just been shaking nonstop with mega earthquakes. Two near a 6.0 and one almost up to a 7.0. And a lot of people concerned about the United States having a mega quake hit. And also, we're still in the middle of a government shutdown here in the U.S., the longest in U.S. history. I've been keeping you up to date on that. Major delays, cuts happening in airports, travel issues, funding issues, and right now we're also hearing the tsunami alert. Our warning systems are having issues as well because, well, federal funding, it's on a halt right now. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I see people saying yes, they think that we're going to have more issues. We're going to have more mega quakes. Somebody's saying we are living in the last days. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Where are we going to be going from here? But I'm going to dive into the articles, get you caught up as to what has unfolded overnight so that way you know exactly what is going on. And if you appreciate that, do me a favor, take a quick second, hit that thumbs up like button for me. Just helps out a ton while we're live on this feed, spreads it out further so more people can get the latest updated information. Now, in addition to that, if you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button? I'll keep you up to speed as news comes out, as we get more updates. And also, if you are also thinking that we're living in the last days and you want to read the Bible, I mentioned this to you guys. We're starting a new channel. It is called The Holy Bible KJV, Steve Ram, Monica Ram. If you'd like to get the voice that brings you the news, also bringing you the Bible, we are recording an audio Bible right now. So I'm going to pin that in the comments for you if you'd like to join that channel as well. Planning to launch that before the end of the year for those of you that are interested. But now let's go ahead and get right to it. Hit the like button, subscribe. All the articles I'm going to be referencing are going to be hyperlinked in the description. Try to hold myself to the highest level of accountability here on the channel so that way you know the dates, the sources, and that this is in fact the latest information coming out as of today, November the 9th, 2025. Now, Japan issues a tsunami warning after a 6.8 magnitude quake strikes off the coast. And again, we have seen 3 separate mega quakes hitting on the last 24 hours. A 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the eastern coast of Japan near Iwate Prefecture, prompting authorities to issue a tsunami warning for the region. The Japan Meteorological Agency forecasts waves up to 1 meter high that could reach the coastline following the shallow depth tremor. A significant earthquake measuring 6.8 on the Richter scale struck off Japan's eastern coastline on Sunday today, triggering immediate tsunami warnings for coastal communities. The seismic event occurred near Iwate Prefecture at a shallow depth of 10 kilometers, raising concerns about potential tsunami impacts. Earthquake details and timing. The United States Geological Survey recorded the tremor occurring at 08:03 GMT near Japan's northeastern coast. The quake's relatively shallow depth of approximately 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles increased its potential to generate tsunami waves, prompting rapid response from Japanese meteorological authorities. So again, the depth, the magnitude, all of these kind of weigh in the location as to where it is that we could potentially be looking at tsunami alerts. We saw that unfold this morning. Now, tsunami warning forecast. The Japanese Meteorological Agency swiftly issued the tsunami alert for Iwate Prefecture's eastern coastline following the seismic activity. Officials warned that the waves could reach up to 1 meter. Regional seismic history. Japan's eastern coastline remains particularly vulnerable to seismic events due to its position along the Pacific Ring of Fire, and that's where we see the majority of these earthquakes, volcanic activity, and tsunami alerts. The region has experienced numerous significant earthquakes and tsunamis throughout its history, including the devastating 2011 earthquake and tsunami that caused widespread destruction, and the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Emergency response protocols. Japanese authorities have activated standard emergency procedures following the tsunami warning, including coastal evacuations and alerts through the nationwide emergency broadcast system. The country's sophisticated early warnings infrastructure provides critical minutes for evacuation between earthquake detection and the potential tsunami impact. And we have seen this quite a bit here with these mega quakes hitting. We see these mega earthquakes, then they let you know that the tsunami waves could be coming your way and how much time you have until they hit as they ripple throughout the Pacific. Now, a lot of people get concerned when these hit about the west coast of the United States. As take a look here, we're also hearing that the tsunami warning system is reeling from funding and staffing cuts in the United States because of the government shutdown. Now, let me know your thoughts. We're about to enter into day 40 here very soon of the government shutdown, the longest in U.S. history, and we're having a lot of issues. Who is at fault here? Is the Republicans or the Democrats? Put it in the comments. Put GOP or Dems. We've heard some people call this Schumer's shutdown, saying that the Democrats, they are not wanting to come to the table to negotiate, and this is impacting travel, where the SNAP benefits. We're also seeing federal programs such as our alert systems are now under distress because of this shutdown. Who is to blame? Drop it in the comments, the GOP or the Dems. We've heard it called the Schumer shutdown. Democrats are to blame. We've heard it called, people are blaming Donald Trump and the Republicans, saying it's about healthcare issues. Let me know your thoughts. I'm seeing Republicans, Democrats. I'm seeing someone say both. Dems, GOP. It looks like the room is split. Drop in the comments who you think is to blame. But let's take a look at this article so we can get some more information, as this is still going on and we're having mega earthquakes hitting in the Pacific. U.S. tsunami warning system reeling from funding and staffing cuts is dealt another blow. Seismic monitoring stations in Alaska are closing after denied a federal grant, risking delayed tsunami warnings for people living off the west coast. 9 seismic stations in Alaska are set to go dark this month, leaving tsunami forecasters without important data used to determine whether an earthquake will send a destructive wave barreling towards the west coast. Can you imagine if we had a mega quake that caused a tsunami that was going to be making its way towards the west coast, Washington, Oregon, California, and there was no alert that could be issued because we don't have funding, because we're in the middle of a government shutdown and funds cannot be distributed out to these various alert systems. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Going back to the article, It says the stations rely on federal grants that lapsed this year. This fall, the Trump administration declined to renew them. Data from the stations helps researchers determine the magnitude of the shape of the earthquakes along the Alaskan subduction zone, a fault that can produce some of the most powerful quakes in the world and put California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii at risk. Losing the stations could lead Alaska's coastal communities to receive delayed notices on an impending tsunami, according to Michael West, the director of Alaska Earthquake Centers. The communities farther away, like the Washington state, could get less precise forecasts. In sheer statistics, the last domestic tsunami came from Alaska, and the next one likely will as well, he said. Now, it's the latest blow to the U.S. tsunami warning system, which has already been struggling with disinvestments and understaffing. Researchers said that they are concerned that the network is beginning to crumble. All the things in the tsunami warning system are going backwards, he said. There's a compound problem. The U.S. has two tsunami warning systems. One is Palmer, Alaska. The other is Honolulu, that operate around the clock, making predictions to help with emergency management to determine whether the coastal evacuations are necessary after earthquakes. The data from Alaska's seismic station was historically fed into the centers. Both centers are already short-staffed. Of the 20 full-time positions at the center in Alaska, only 11 are currently filled, according to Tom Fay, and the union legislative director of the National Weather Service Employees Organization. In Hawaii, 4 of the 16 roles are open. Both locations are in the process of hiring scientists, Fay said. Now, additionally, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration has decreased funding for the National Tsunami Hazard Mitigation Program, which pays the majority of the state's tsunami risk reduction work. The agency provided $4 million in 2025, far less from the $6 million that it has historically offered. It's on life support, they said regarding the program. Now, on top of that, the NOAA laid off the National Weather Service Tsunami Program Manager Corina Allen as a part of Trump administration's firing of probationary workers in February, according to Harold Tobin, the Washington state seismologist. Allen, who had recently started at the agency, declined to comment via a spokesperson for her new employer, the Washington State Department of Natural Resources said. These recent cuts have played out amid the Trump administration's broader efforts to slash federal funding on science and climate research among the areas. The NOAA fired hundreds of workers in February, curtailing the weather balloon launches and halted research on the coast of the climate weather disaster, among other cuts. Wow. So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. Now you can see this NBC author that is writing this is pretty much saying that the Trump administration is cutting these workers and that these programs are already understaffed. But if you actually support the Trump administration, you like what he's doing. He's trying to get rid of wasteful spending, making sure that things are being done correctly, and also trying to get just the government open right now. Drop a 47 in the comments for support for the Trump administration if you appreciate what they're doing. Now, if you don't, and you like the previous administration and the way they handled things and the way they did funding, drop a 46 in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. 47 for support for Trump, 46 for support for the Democratic administration prior. And also, if you haven't done so yet and you appreciate the live stream updates, take a second, hit that thumbs up like button. But let's take a look at some more as we're hearing that these earthquakes have been pouring in over the last 24 hours. Japan's weather agency issues a tsunami alert for Iwate Prefecture after a 6.7 magnitude earthquake strikes. The Japanese weather agency on Sunday issued a tsunami advisory for Iwate after an earthquake of magnitude 6.7 struck in the Pacific off northeastern Japan, causing a power outage and a temporary partial suspension of Shinkansen bullet train services, local media has reported. The Japanese Meteorological Agency stated that a tsunami of up to 1 meter could reach the prefectura due to the trembler, which struck off of the Sanriku coast at a depth of about 10 kilometers. Japan-based Kyodo News reported. The earthquake, which occurred at 5:03 p.m., was measured 4 on the Japanese seismic intensity scale of 7 in some parts of Iwate and also Miyagi Prefecture. According to the agency, a tsunami wave of 10 centimeters was observed in Ofanato, which while a minor tsunami reached Miyako. Meanwhile, the Tohoku Shinkansen between Sendai and Amori stations started operating after the temporary suspension, according to the operator, JR East. Japanese Prime Minister shared a statement on X urging people to evacuate from the coast. She asked people to be alert, as aftershocks are possible, and a tsunami that may come later could be larger than expected. So they issued out that warning, letting people know that tsunami could be coming here very soon. Please stay away from the coastlines. Now, at around 1703, an earthquake with its epicenter off of Sanriku coast occurred. Seismic intensity 4 was observed in Iwate Prefecture and also Miyagi Prefecture, and an information liaison room has been immediately set up in the Prime Minister's office. A tsunami advisory has been issued, so please evacuate away from the coast immediately. The tsunami that may arrive later could be larger than expected, so please stay alert for further information. Additionally, aftershocks are possible, so please remain cautious of any strong shaking, they said on X. Now, the Tohoku Electrical Power stated that no malfunction was reported at the Anagawa nuclear power plant in Miyagi Prefecture, local media reported. Addressing a news conference on Sunday, a meteorological agency official stated that earthquakes of similar or even stronger intensity could occur over the next few days, the Japanese Times reported. He urged people to avoid going into the sea or the shore in regions where the tsunami advisory had been issued. Now, also, in addition to that, as I mentioned to you guys, we're hearing that there have been 3 of these that have occurred in the last 24 hours overnight. Now, here's another one coming out from Newsweek, giving us a little bit more details. Now, this says Japanese authorities issued a tsunami alert for the northeast of the country on Sunday after a magnitude 6.7 earthquake was recorded in the Pacific Ocean close to the country. Now, take a look. As you can see, there was a 6.8, a 6.4, and a 5.9, all within an hour of each other, and all 3 of these hitting over in Japan in the same location, megaquakes rattling one after the other after the other. Japanese authorities issued a tsunami alert after we saw that 6.7 was recorded in the Pacific. Now, Japan sits on the Pacific's earthquake belt, which is often dubbed the ocean's ring of fire, and that's where we see a lot of volcanic activity. A lot of earthquakes and tsunami warnings are a result. Around 90% of all the world's earthquakes happen along that 25,000-mile horseshoe. Earthquakes or undersea volcanic eruptions can trigger tsunamis. These waves can be small and only impact a localized area, or they can cause widespread destruction. Japan's complex coastline is vulnerable to tsunamis. Tokyo's foreign ministry has said the vast majority of the tsunamis occur in the Pacific Ocean, although they can happen in large bodies of water as well. And you can see the location where all of those had hit. So here's what to know. Tsunamis of up to 1 meter or about 3.2 feet could reach land in Japan's Iwate, the Japanese Meteorological Agency has said. Areas to the north and to the south of the region may see slight rises in sea levels. The earthquake struck shortly after 5 p.m. local time on Sunday or 3 a.m. Eastern time at a depth of roughly 10 kilometers or about 6 miles, the weather agency said. The earthquake measured 4 on the country's own seismic scale, Japan's NHK broadcast reported. Known as Shindu, measures how much shaking an earthquake causes on the scale from 0 to 7. An earthquake measured at 4 on the Shindu scale will likely cause lights to swing violently and some objects to overturn, while drivers and vehicles will likely feel the impacts. Some bullet train services were temporarily stopped, and a power outage was detected in an unspecified area. Japan's Kyodo News Agency reported. A tsunami wave reaching 10 centimeters was recorded in the coastal city of Ofunato, and a minor wave reached Miyako, a city just north of Ofunato, according to the news agency. Close to 20,000 people were killed in March of 2011 in Japan's In Japan, after a powerful earthquake triggered a huge tsunami in the country's northeast, sometime referred to as the Great East Japan Earthquake. The 40-meter-high tsunami took out the power supply and the cooling of 3 nuclear reactors at Japan's Fukushima nuclear power plant in one of the world's worst ever nuclear disasters. Thousands of people were evacuated from the area. Scientists said at the time that the earthquake was powerful enough to shift the Earth's axis. It was the largest magnitude earthquake ever recorded in Japan. Japanese authorities said around 122,000 buildings were entirely destroyed and another 283,000 significantly damaged, just short of 750,000 buildings sustaining some level of damage. The earthquake and the tsunami racked up roughly $235 billion in damage, the World Bank estimated shortly after this disaster. And we are hearing that there was another huge earthquake that hit today, causing tsunami alerts, actually 3 earthquakes, sparking tsunami alerts. However, we're now hearing that that tsunami alert has been lifted. Now, here's another one coming out on another one that had happened overnight. Travel alert, a 6.3 earthquake hits Japan's Iwate coast. Tsunami warning forces urgent evacuations for tourists. A powerful 6.3. Now, this is a different one from the 6.9 that we had heard, which was reduced to a 6.8. A powerful 6.3 earthquake struck offshore near Iwate, Japan, this week, triggering an urgent tsunami warning and disrupting travel plans for thousands along the country's iconic Pacific coastline. Coastal towns and tourist destinations, once popular for their scenic beauty, are now on high alert as evacuations are ordered and issued for residents and visitors. With memories of the 2011 earthquake and tsunami still fresh, the region's emergency response teams quickly mobilized, leaving many travelers stranded as authorities focused on securing the safety of local communities. Now, tsunami threat heightened as coastal communities face immediate evacuations. Seconds after the earthquake struck, Japan's meteorological agency issued a tsunami warning for the coastline. The message was clear: evacuate to higher ground immediately. Coastal towns and villages in Iwate were put on high alert as waves from the undersea tremor threatened to strike the shore. Evacuations orders came in fast, with authorities warning the public not to wait for the official tsunami wave, but to act swiftly and to head to safety. Through the Pacific coast, the Iwate is no stranger to seismic activity. This earthquake, felt across much of the northeastern Japan, shattered any semblance of calm. The sound of sirens echoed through coastal towns, urging residents to flee to safety. As the fear of a tsunami loomed, the danger heightened. The real-time tsunami prediction and early warning system kicked in, allowing authorities to provide critical evacuation guidance. Despite a strong 6.3, which was enough to send the ground shaking violently, the looming threat of tsunami surge raised the stakes. Iwate, a region of mercy, of nature's fury, Iwate Prefecture has long been known for its vulnerability to earthquakes. Situated along Japan's seismic belt, the region lies near the tectonic fault lines where the Pacific Plate meets the North American plates. The risk of aftershocks and further seismic activity in the coming hours only adds to the anxiety that grips residents. Despite the near constant threat posed by earthquakes in Japan, the immediate tsunami warning has sent shock waves of panic throughout the region. For many, the fear of the repeating of a devastating tsunami of 2011 is all too real. Back then, over 18,000 lives were lost in a massive earthquake and the resulting waves that inundated the coastal areas. In many ways, today's emergency feels like a chilling echo of that disaster. The sight of hundreds of people rushing towards higher ground, some carrying their children, others clutching important belongings, mirrored the scenes back from 2011. The fear in their eyes was palpable, and the unsettling sounds of emergency warnings blared over loudspeakers. Authorities responded quickly. Evacuations underway. The Japanese authorities, well prepared due to their vast experience with seismic threats, moved swiftly to ensure that the safety of the local residents. Emergency response teams were activated immediately, and shelters were set up in schools and community centers as evacuations continued throughout the day. Local hospitals stood ready for the possibility of injuries resulting from the earthquake or a potential tsunami strike. Thankfully, the early warnings allowed for a swift response, and no casualties have been reported as of yet. However, it remains unclear what the impact will be on coastal infrastructure and whether the evacuation orders will remain in place as the situation develops. Japan's National Police Agency confirmed that efforts were underway to secure roads and transport routes for those evacuating from lower lying regions. Coastal defenses were also assessed for potential damage. Authorities warned that aftershocks were likely, potentially worsening the already tense situation. The legacy of the 2011 looms large in Iwate. For the people of Iwate, the earthquake was more than just a natural disaster. It was a painful reminder of their vulnerability to nature's fury. In 2011, the region was devastated by a massive earthquake and subsequent tsunami, leaving scars that have not yet fully healed. Today, while the region is better prepared for more resilience and the memories of the dark days are still fresh in their minds of the residents, it is no surprise that the tsunami warning sent a wave of fear and confusion throughout the coastal towns of Iwate. While modern technology and sophisticated early warning systems have improved Japan's ability to respond to such threats, the deep emotional scars of the 2011 disaster still run deep. Families, communities, and individuals who survived that catastrophe are now once again facing the grim reality that nature can strike without any warning. Will Japan's resilience be enough this time? As Iwate's coastline remains on edge, all eyes are on the incoming tsunami threat. Will the waves materialize? How powerful will they be? And most importantly, how long can the region's preparedness and resilience hold up under the weight of yet another potential disaster? Japan is known worldwide for its advanced disaster response system, but with each new disaster, the stakes grow higher. Today, the lessons of 2011 are being put to the test once again, as the government races to keep its citizens safe from the one thing that's often out of anyone's control: nature. As the tsunami alert continues to loom over Iwate, local residents wait with bated breath. The possibility of a significant wave striking the coastal coast remains a real danger, but for now the focus is on evacuation, safety, and the preservation of life. With Japan's history of earthquakes, today's events only serve to underscore the unpredictability of the constant threat of seismic activity along the Pacific coast. Only time will tell if this earthquake will be the latest chapter in a history marked by resilience, or if it will mark the beginning of another tragedy of the people of Iwate. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, you guys. Again, I asked the question, do you think we're going to be seeing more of these mega quakes? If you think so, put yes. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts, but we did see the tsunami alerts coming out. You can see ABC News tsunami advisory as strong earthquake strikes off the coast of Japan. But not just one, we actually saw 3 earthquakes hit overnight. And take a look at this. We're hearing that the advisory has been lifted this morning as we get updates pouring in. Let's go ahead and take a look at this so that way you can see it for yourself, coming out from CBS News. Powerful earthquake rattles the northern coast of Japan. Early tsunami advisory has been lifted. A strong earthquake and several subsequent tremors rattled northern Japan on Sunday evening, triggering tsunami advisories along the coast, according to Japan Meteorological Agency. The earthquake, with an upgraded magnitude of 6.9 and a depth of 20 kilometers, or about 12 miles, struck off the coast of Iwate Prefecture at 5:03 p.m. Japan time, according to the Meteorological Agency. There were no immediate reports of injuries or damage, or any reports of abnormalities at the 2 nuclear power plants in the area. The agency issued advisories for areas along Japan's northern coast where the tsunami could reach 1 meter or 3 feet, although meteorologists initially said that the water could rise as high as 3 meters or about 9 feet in some locations. It downgraded tsunami advisories to tsunami forecasts in several places along the coastal region, which means the tsunami's impact was then expected to be 0.2 meters or about 8 inches high. Tsunami forecasts are issued when slight sea levels change. Changes are expected according to the agency. A tsunami of about 10 centimeters or about 4 inches was detected at Ofunato City in Iwate Prefecture. Aminato Port, Miyako, and Kamashish, and subsequently as high as 20 centimeters or about 8 inches in the coastal area of Kuji. The tsunami that followed in Afunato also reached 20 centimeters or about 8 inches, according to the agency. Now, tsunami waves that follow earthquakes can continue for a few hours afterwards, hitting the coast repeatedly, and can possibly be bigger with time. While the advisory was in place, people were warned to stay away from the ocean and coastal areas and told that more shaking could follow in the areas. Now, the tsunami advisory was lifted about 3 hours after the initial quake, but the meteorological agency told reporters the area was at risk for strong quakes for about a week, especially over the next 2 or 3 days. More quakes were reported in Iwate, and the northernmost major island of Hokkaido was also rocked by a series of earthquakes as well. Northeastern Japan is prone to earthquakes, including a triple disaster of quake, tsunami, and nuclear meltdown in Fukushima, which, south of Iwate, in March of 2011, killed nearly 20,000 people, mostly from the tsunami, and severely damaged the Fukushima nuclear power station. More than a decade later, people still remain displaced from the no-go zone. Demonstrations are still periodically held, as recently as Saturday, to protest what is being seen as a lack of recognition by the authorities of the serious risks of nuclear power. An agency official briefing reporters late on Sunday said there was nothing to indicate that the latest quake was directly related to the one in 2011. Expect that the region was generally at risk for major quakes, including another one that hit in 1992. Bullet trains in the area were temporarily delayed, according to the JR East railway operator. Japan, which sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, is one of the world's most earthquake-prone countries in the world. So there you have it, you guys. So 3 major quakes hitting in Japan overnight. And like I said, take a look here. You can see 6.8, which they're saying some are reporting it was a 6.9. A 6.4 and a 5.9, all hitting within an hour in Japan around 5 p.m. Japan time. And you can see that's about 2 o'clock in the morning here, Central Standard Time today, November the 9th, 2025. So that tsunami advisory has been lifted, major quakes hitting, and we're hearing the warnings of aftershocks and more that could take place in the Pacific Ring of Fire. Now, we'll see. Whatever unfolds, I'll be sure to let you know here on the channel. And also, we've heard the warnings that the United States is still under the longest government shutdown in history, which we don't have funding for various federal programs, such as detecting whether or not we need a tsunami alert to go out. Also, SNAP benefits, still having an issue with that. And if you haven't heard, the airport situation, it's getting worse. We had heard there could be a 4% cut, then a 10%. Now we're hearing 20% cuts to flights, delays. We're hearing when you get on the plane, you could be sitting on the tarmac for hours, possibly, because the planes are just sitting in line waiting to go because there's a lack of air traffic controllers that are able to tell them. So they're just pretty much getting in line, and you got to wait your turn to fly off the runway. So right now we are going through a lot. There's a lot of updates coming out. As more pours out, I'll be sure to let you guys know here on the channel. Hopefully we will see an end to the longest U.S. government shutdown in history. And if any more comes out on earthquakes and tsunami alerts in the Pacific, I'll be sure to let you know here on the channel. Now, if you're a praying individual, drop a praying hands in the comments. And for those of you that haven't already heard, we're going to be launching an audio Bible on YouTube, totally free. You can join it right here at the Holy Bible KJV, Steve Ram, Monica Ram. That's going to be coming before the end of the year. For those of you that look to me for a clear voice to give you the news, also be a clear voice giving you some peace through the Bible, if you're interested. So drop a praying hands in the comments to say a prayer for our world. Join the new channel if you're interested. Like this if you appreciate the live stream, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.